NBA playoffs are coming up, man, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, with that because, there's been a lot of speculation on, it's been kind of a wide open year. I mean, the Eastern Conference is a lot more interesting than it's been in a long time, and it's kind of been on the up and up over the last few years. But this year it's been really fun. And the West, the West is always good, but like it's starting to level out a little bit. And I think in a couple of years, the East and the West, in terms of like the NBA conferences, will be a lot more comparable. It's already getting that way. I mean, if you look at just even 5-10 years ago, like the West was just miles ahead of the East, and now it just doesn't seem like that anymore. It just it feels a little bit more varied, which always is just exciting. Like as opposed to, when the West was just miles ahead of the East, and it was just like, there was teams with losing records making the playoffs. So, yeah. But honestly, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. There's just, yeah. But as for I wanted to kind of talk about Joel Embiid and how much of a pleasure it's been to watch Joel play this year, man. He has been just amazing. Just amazing to watch play, man. I mean, just like he's the only reason to really watch the Sixers this year because he's so good and like just on both sides of the ball. But it's just like come postseason, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because teams are going to double him. They're going to triple him even in some cases. And it's going to be interesting to see how, the 76ers can just do anything without him on the floor. Like, and that's the thing. I mean, I've been scared. There's been some close calls this year with him, like getting hurt. He had that bad fall last week. I think it was against Denver, maybe. I forget, but he had a really bad fall going up for a layup. And he puts his body on the line, man, on a lot of different plays. And it's just like, knowing his history, it always just sucks the air out of you for a second there when he goes down. Because it's just like, I've seen it happen, and it's not fun, watching him get hurt. Because it just destroys our entire everything. Cross my fingers, knock on wood, that he continues to play at this level because, when he does, it's very hard for teams to stop us. And, I feel like I haven't given him enough credit this year just because I don't know. I've been so focused on a lot of the flaws with this team, and he's not one of them, man. He has just been... It's been truly a pleasure to watch. He is the best 76ers since Allen Iverson. I don't think people are going to even fight on that. That's not a hot take at all. So it's like, but so like I just love watching him play, man. His finishing, his mid-range, his three-point game, like everything he's doing is just, it's been top-notch, man. Like, it's just, what else can you ask for from this guy? He comes out there every night and just dominates, man. It's been amazing to watch. And there's going to be very few like him. Man, there's very few like him right now that are just... Attack! As efficient as he is, as good of a leader as he is, as skilled as he is for a big man. Some of the plays he makes, it's just like you can't even like, you're just like, that is something that like a guy who's a guard would do. And this dude is 7'3", almost 300 pounds, and he's just cooking them. It's been just an absolute pleasure to watch Joel this year. He has just been absolutely fantastic from the get-go. It's just, he is the MVP this year. There's no denying it. And but yeah, it's been great to watch him play. Oh, come on. But run. But no, like Joel, man, he has just been... Oh, come on. But he has just been amazing, man. Just the finishing, and like even his ability to beat double teams has really been much better this year. Sorry, oops. Yeah, I mean his finishing has just been so much better this year too. And his ability to kick out of double teams, like that's the thing that neutralized Joel early in his career was double teams, and especially in the postseason, that's going to be something interesting to watch when we play against good defensive teams, good 3-point teams. How are we going to respond when they put a lot of pressure on Joel and it forces other guys to have to shoot? Because like that's been like the biggest kryptonite has been the shooting for this team. It's just not been great. But it's just he's just been so good, and he's the MVP this year, man. Don't get me with that. I mean, DeRozan's been great this year, but he hasn't been Joel great. Jokic is great, but Joel bodied him last week when they played. When it was one-on-one, when they weren't doubling and tripling Joel, they had when they weren't doubling him and tripling him, like Jokic was getting whacked in the post, man, defensively. And I mean, Jokic's never been a great defender, but Joel is. And Joel's just, I mean, he's not as good of a facilitator and playmaker as Jokic is. Jokic is one of the best playmakers in the league, but like Joel is, as like a big man, he's just the full package, man. His ability to score anywhere on the floor. I mean, he can shoot, he can pass decently. I think Jokic is definitely better at that, but like he can shoot anywhere on the floor. He can shoot threes, twos. From inside, outside, the post-up game, all of it has just been getting better and better, and it's just, I hope he just stays on this trajectory, and it, but the thing that does scare me about it is, like, he's not going to be like this forever. Like, that eventually, he's going to slow down. He's a big man. He's 7 feet tall. And that's why the Sixers, I'm more fine with them being in go mode. Getting a guy like Harden, and more guys like that, because it's just, that's where they need to be at. That's where the Sixers need to be, is in go mode at this point. Because it's like, if all else fails, just build around Maxey. But it's like, I'm fine dealing the picks. And honestly, the Nets trade, like, as good as the Nets are looking, I still think even if James Harden leaves after the summer, it was a good trade. It was worth the gamble. But I think there's many more problems with this team that they're going to run into in the playoffs, the Sixers, and that's Doc Rivers, his lineups, his rotations. I have been so low on Doc Rivers for so long. I'm over him, man. I just think he's terrible. And I hate to, dog on people, but like Doc just doesn't even seem like he cares. Like, the only smart decision he's made this year was he played 2-3 zone against Dallas, which was smart. But at the same time, like I like emphasizing more of his own defense. I think it really helps this team. We got enough quick athletes that like that can work. But I don't know. It's just the offensive game has just been a mess ever since Brett Brown was the head coach of this team, and there's just no creativity. There's no ability to get guys open off ball. Like, I don't see this team set really any off ball screens at all. It's all just dribble handoffs and pick and roll situations. And I mean, at least they've done more pick and rolls, because under Brett Brown, they literally just didn't even know what a pick and roll was, it seemed like. So I mean, it's definitely been better in that department, but what was I saying? Oh yeah, the pick and rolls and the dribble handoffs. Like, that's all he does offensively. Like, no off ball screens, no getting guys open, no cuts to the rim really. Outside of, like, they sometimes use Matisse Thybulle as a cutter, and the shooting has been streaky this year. We rely way too much on the three, and it's been streaky. I mean, outside of, like, George Niang, who's been shooting the ball well here and there, even though he had a horrendous game like a week ago, I think against Denver when he missed that game winner. And that was a lot of that was Doc's fault, because he had an extra timeout and he didn't use it. Just so sick of Doc, dude. I'm so sick of him. And, like, yeah, he does good stuff every once in a while, but for the most part, he's just not going to be the guy for this team, man, at this point in his career. I just think he's kind of, given up. I think he's just like, if I'm being honest, I think he's just kind of thrown in the towel and just kind of phoning it in. And it's like, yeah, it's been pretty disheartening to see from him, just because, like, I know that with another, and he just gets out coached by a bunch of coaches too, but, like, even just with another coach, this team could be really fun. Like, I even would like Sam Cassell to maybe become the head coach. I like Sam Cassell, and he's a good, he's really helped some of these guys be able to shoot better. But again, the shooting has not been great this year. But I don't know, man. Doc's rotations have been terrible. He doesn't. He doesn't play the right, like, guys at the right time. Like, he doesn't put guys in situations to be successful. He doesn't play young players. Like, the fact that Charles Bassey and Paul Reed and those guys don't get minutes at all is just kind of disheartening at this point. I mean, honestly, at this point, you can't really, like, do much about it. But at the same time, it's just, like, it's frustrating, because those guys could have an impact. They could be, impact players. How come all these other teams get young guys that just come up through the ranks and are good, but, like, and be good role players, but, like, literally nobody on the Sixers can figure it out? Like, it's just like they don't get the opportunity, it seems like, in a lot of cases. But yeah. Overall, though, it's been great to see Joel this year. That's really the thing. Like, he's made it all worthwhile because he's so good and so fun to watch. I mean, but I know that it's not going to last forever, unfortunately. Just the way he plays, the way he puts his body on the line, the way he dives for balls and all that. And I respect the hell out of it. But it's just like, it scares me because it's just not that sustainable when you're that big. And that's just the bottom line. I mean, you just look through history. Very few guys have been that durable at that size. But, I mean, Joel's held up this year, knock on wood. But, again, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And I would hate for this team to get in a bind come playoffs. Because, like, even if Joel's fully healthy, this team is still in big trouble with the playoffs. But, like, obviously without him, it's concerning. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen.